The one where they have the Sevakunji.
We need to plug that.
Okay, we're going on YouTube right now, and we've got about half an hour, less than half an hour to start on this chapter. Coming back to teachings of Lord Caitanya after so long.
The one where they have the
Okay, so where is the page? We're on chapter 30. Whoops. Let me share the screen here. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Chapter 30, the transcendental pastimes of Radha and Krishna. The difference between executing ordinary religious activities and devotional service is very great. By executing religious rituals, one can achieve economic development, sense gratification, or liberation, merging into the existence of the Supreme. But the results of transcendental devotional service are completely different from such temporary benefits. Devotional service of the Lord is evergreen, and it is increasingly transcendentally pleasing. Thus, there is a gulf of difference between the results derived from devotional service and those derived from religious rituals. The great spiritual energy known as Jadadishtatri, or Mahamaya, the superintendent of the material world and the material departmental directors, the demigods, as well as the products of the external energy of the Supreme Lord, are but perverted reflections of the opulence of the Supreme Lord. Krishna Chandra Prabhu, would you mind looking up in the new edition of Teachings of Lord Caitanya at vedabase.io? I'm wondering if this is supposed to be Jagad Ish Tatri instead of Jadad Ish Tatri.
I'll get started.
Yeah, thanks, Prabhu. This is chapter what, 30, I think it is?
I think it might be Jada, like Jad Bharat. It means earthly, earth, of the earth. Anyway.
Okay. Anyway, we won't know until he checks. The demigods are actually order carriers of the Supreme Lord, and they manage the material creation. In Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the workings of the supremely powerful superintendent, Durga, are but shadowy indications of the workings of the Supreme Lord. The sun works just like the eye of the Supreme Lord, and Brahma works just as the reflected light of the Supreme Lord. Thus, all the demigods, as well as the external energy herself, Durga Devi, and all the different departmental directors are but servants of the Supreme Lord in the material world. Can you read the next paragraph, Krishna Chandra?
Okay. Before I do that, you wanted to know if the new edition had Jadadhish Tatri, that particular word was
I'm guessing it's Jagad, as in the universe, Jagad.
According to Vedabase, it's Jadad with the D. D is
okay. I was wrong. Thank you.
No problem. It's okay.
Please continue.
Okay. In the spiritual world, there is another energy, the superior spiritual energy or internal energy, which acts under the direction of Yoga Maya. Yoga Maya is the internal potency of the Supreme Lord. She also works under the Lord's direction, but she works in the spiritual world. When the living entity puts himself under the direction of Yoga Maya instead of Mahamaya, he gradually becomes a devotee of Krishna. Yet those who are after material opulence and material happiness place themselves under the care of the material energy, Mahamaya, or under the care of material demigods like Lord Shiva and others. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is found that when the gopis of Vrindavan desired Krishna as their husband, they prayed to the spiritual energy, Yoga Maya, for the fulfillment of their desire. In the Sapta Shati, it is found that the king Surata, and a merchant named Samadhi worship Mahamaya for material opulence. Thus, one should not mistakenly equalize Yogamaya and Mahamaya.
Because the Lord is on the absolute platform, there's no difference between the holy name of the Lord and the Supreme Lord himself. There are different names for the Supreme Lord, and these names have different purposes and meanings. For instance, he's known as Paramatma, the Supersoul, Brahman, the Supreme Absolute, Shristikarta, the Creator, Narayan, the Transcendental Lord, Rukmini Ramana, the husband of Rukmini, Gopinath, the enjoyer of the gopis, and Krishna. In this way, the Lord has different names, and these names indicate different functions. The aspect of the Supreme Lord as the Creator is different from the aspect of the Lord as Narayan. Some of the names of the Lord as the Creator are conceived by materialistic men. One cannot fully realize the essence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by understanding the name of the Creator, because this material creation is a function of the external energy of the Supreme Lord. Thus, the conception of God as the Creator includes only the external feature. Similarly, when we call the Supreme Lord Brahman, we cannot have any understanding of the six opulences of the Supreme Lord. In Brahman realization, the six opulences are not realized in full. Therefore, Brahman realization is not complete understanding of the Supreme Lord. Neither is Paramatma realization of the Supersoul, full realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For the all-pervading nature of the Supreme Lord is but a partial representation of his opulence.
Jivan Mukta. Jivan Mukta?
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
I was just wanted to say what a beautiful paragraph that was.
Sure. You want to make a comment?
Just Prabhupada, the way he presents the different aspects of Krishna in this respect. You know, when we see Krishna as the creator, it's only seeing the external aspect of the energy of Krishna. You know, ultimately Krishna is Gopinath, Govinda, and everything else stems from that. And Krishna as the creator is just an external feature, the external feature of Krishna's energy. Anyway, I just wanted to, it just was said so nicely, it was presented so nicely.
The thought that I had on this thank you. The thought I had on this paragraph is this weekend I went to chant my rounds on top of a mountain. I didn't actually realize there was a kind of a mountain outside of Toronto. It's called Old Baldy. And when I arrived way up on the top and drove up to the top, there was a young lady there who was like a conservation person, basically just taking parking money. And she sent me to her site. And her site is all about the beauty of creation and how children should come to appreciate and get energy, just appreciate all the wonders of the world and the beauty of nature. And she has many, many beautiful photographs and stories. But I was thinking, as much as she appreciates the beauty of nature, this is all Krishna's external energy. She has no idea of the beauty of Radha and Krishna and the spiritual world. So we have so much to share with people.
Mm-hmm.
If they're ready.
Even the transcendental relationship experienced by devotee of Narayan and Vaikuntha is incomplete in that it is not realization of a relationship with Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. The devotees of Krishna do not relish devotional service to Narayan because devotional service to Krishna is so attractive that Krishna's devotees do not desire to worship any other form. Thus, the gopis of Vrindavan do not like to see Krishna as the husband of Rukmini, nor do they address him as Rukmini Ramana. In Vrindavan, Krishna is addressed as Radha Krishna or Krishna, the property of Radharani. Although the husband of Rukmini and Radha's Krishna are on the same level in the ordinary sense, still in the spiritual world, the names indicate different understandings of various aspects of Krishna's transcendental personality.
Mm.
If one equalizes Rukmini Ramana, Radha Ramana, Narayan, or any other name of the Supreme Lord, he commits the fault of overlapping tastes,
Huh.
which is technically called rasabas.
Rasabas.
Those who are expert devotees do not accept such amalgamations, which are against the conclusions of pure devotional service.
So I'm concerned to finish the last, I don't know how many is it, 4, 5, 6. There's about 7, 8 paragraphs. So I'm reluctant to bring this up because I'm thinking it could completely take over the whole discussion.
Then
But
don't.
okay,
And don't read them. We read them next time. These are really important, Prabhu, because we need to understand who we worship. Our Sandhya, our goal. What is our goal? Let's go Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Otherwise, we're just, we're in the wrong sampradaya.
Yeah.
If we think that we're just going to worship Narayan is the same as worshiping Krishna, well, sorry about that. It's kind of difficult to work on the phone.
can't you set up the phone and lean it up against something?
Yeah, we tried that before, but the phones were losing charge. So I'm sorry. So, like Prabhupada is saying here, it's very important. These aspects are incomplete.
Amrita never showed
Can you
up.
ask Baba Trini to take the phone
Don't-
somewhere, or else you have to mute
Yeah,
yourself because you can't hear you speak and
Right.
listen to her phone call.
Yeah, thank you, Baba. Bye. Sorry. So this is very important, So, I mean, we can choose to fly through the paragraph, but I think as devotees here, we're, for us, what are our goals? What is our sampradaya? Why the name, even the name given to Prabhupada, the title actually given to Prabhupada, Bhakti Vedanta, and Vedanta, how important it is, and hearing these other devotees, talking, because there was a group, there were two principal disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta that were accusing him and accusing Bhaktivinoda Thakur of deviating from the teachings of Jiva Goswami. But that's another topic. But how important it is, Prabhupada mentions here Rasabhas. So that's why I mentioned about devotees, we call them Rukmini Dwarkadish. Prabhupada did not install Rukmini Dwarkadish. He did not install mostly.
But he
He
did
didn't
install Radha Ishwari, London Ishwari, and Paris Ishwari.
Yes, they were all Radha Krishna, except that in Bombay, which is predominantly people worship Radha Mas, so there's Parthasarati and Ramachandra, and this in Delhi. I'm sorry, no, Bombay is in Delhi.
Well, before we start dealing with all these other deities, because now you're bringing up more questions for me, because I heard that Srila Narayan Maharaj stated that it's not correct that we worship Rukmini Dwarkadish, and even Radha Parthasarati is like that's even put into question. And I remember when I first heard this, I felt kind of defensive, because I thought that Prabhupada gave these names, and I don't want to make any offense towards Srila Narayan Maharaj. I even wrote him a letter asking him, I hope I didn't offend you, because I have questions about you. And he said, no, you've not offended me, but if you think you have, you're already forgiven. That was his little letter back to me. But now that I look back in retrospect, I'm questioning, because I heard that story, for example, that it was Jayatirtha and Manjwali's idea, for whatever, maybe they didn't understand the tattva properly, and gave this name Rukmini Dwarkadish, because they were the leaders in the community, it stuck. But that Prabhupada allegedly did not want them to be called Rukmini Dwarkadish. Now is raising my question: did Prabhupada want Radha Parthasarati, the New Delhi?
And that one is different. That one,
okay.
I'm not sure. And Bhatrini is saying yes, he did. It did maintain those names for them.
All right.
So, but and I was just referring to this paragraph. Prabhupada said it's very important. The gopis don't want to worship. They don't like, that the relationship is not for them that important, or if we can read that paragraph to be more precise. Is it what when it refers to gopis and Rukmini?
The gopis of Vrindavan do not like to see Krishna as the husband of Rukmini, and nor do they address him as Rukmini Raman.
Uh-huh.
Right. And the other important thing here is Prabhupada mentions Radha Raman. And this, so in our Maha Mantra, when we say Ram, it's not that Rama is not the Rama of Ayodhya. It's Radha Raman. It's one who brings actually pleasure of Radharani. So it's even a higher name. Gaudiya Vaishnavas, our Swamini, is Radharani. It's that Vrindavan. Prabhupada said everybody in Vrindavan knows who's the boss. If you go to anybody, they'll say Chai Radhe, Chai Radhe.
Right.
So there is a story where Krishna has left their association, and he's sitting in the forest, and the gopis are marching, are marching towards Krishna, and he's going like, uh-oh. So he puts other four arms. He displays four arms. So, and the gopis come to him and they say, oh, he's very beautiful. Oh, it's Narayan. So they all pay respects and obeisances. And then what do they ask him? They ask him to please.
Where's Krishna?
Yeah, where's Krishna?
Have you seen him?
Yeah, please give us the blessings of us that we can associate with him. And then they go on, they leave him. But when Radharani shows up, he cannot hold that form. So there is a place where it's called the belly or some Krishna's belly, where the arms came in. As soon as Radharani showed up, he couldn't hold that form, four-arm form, and so it manifests his Krishna form, two-arm form. And so it says in the Rasa Panchayaya, which is the 5 chapters that deal with to begin with Rasa dance, which Prabhupada said is the most beautiful pastime, is the most exalted pastime. That's why he put so many things. Some points Prabhupada said, no, unless you're liberated. But in another points he tells Rai Ram, he said Rai Ram addresses this in letters you can read, where he said, oh, I'm having problems with lust. And Prabhupada said, oh, the cure for lust is to read and hear about Salila. Right. And so, how we hear it? Under the anugatya, meaning the shelter of the pure devotees who have realized it. Right. So it says that the form that Krishna displays in Rasadhan is the most beautiful form. He only displays that for Radhe.
You mean you're saying not even the gopis see that form?
They see Krishna, of course, but in that rasa dance, when they see him, that beauty comes because Radharani is there.
But do the gopis see that same form, or only Radharani sees that?
Yes, they do see him.
Okay. Welcome to Vijay Gauranga. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Jai Dvija, Haribo.
We haven't heard from you. Would you like to read the next? It's a short paragraph. Why don't you read too?
Sure. Although Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, embodies all super excellence and beauty, when he is amongst the damsels of Braj, he is known as Gopi Janavalabha. The devotees cannot relish the beauty of the Supreme Lord more than the damsels of Braj. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10.33.7, it is confirmed that although Krishna, the son of Devaki, is the last word in super excellence and beauty, when he is amongst the gopis, it appears that he is a sublime jewel set amongst divine golden craftsmanship. Although Lord Caitanya accepted this as the highest realization of the Supreme Lord as conjugal lover, he nonetheless requested Ramananda Roy to proceed further. Upon hearing this request, Ramananda Roy remarked that this was the first time that he had been asked to go further than the gopis in an attempt to understand Krishna. There is certainly transcendental intimacy between the damsels of Braj and Krishna, Ramananda pointed out, but out of all the relationships, the relationship between Radharani and Krishna in conjugal love is the most perfect. No common man can understand the ecstasy of transcendental love between Radharani and Krishna, nor can he understand the transcendental flavor of the transcendental love between Krishna and the gopis. Yet if one tries to follow in the footsteps of the gopis, he may become situated in the highest stage of transcendental love. Thus, one who wants to be elevated to the transcendental stage of perfection should follow in the footsteps of the damsels of Braj as an assistant maidservant of the gopis.
Any comment from anyone before we move on?
Yeah, this is very important. One tape I used to play for my father, and also Prabhupada says, we're not in opposition of the gopis. It's okay to mention their names. I mean, more than okay, isn't it? I mean, right here it's very clear. In Caitanya Charitamrita, it's even more detailed explained. But there you have it. It's Radha's in the first rasa dance. When is one way to show her exalted position of Krishna, but in this second rasa dance that takes place at Govardhan, Krishna's favorite place, it is explained that again Krishna definitely establishes Radharani as the superior, most excellent worshipper. The highest.
The first rasa dance was done at Seva Kunj, and the second one was done at Govardhan.
Yes.
So the first one is in springtime, and the second one is in fall.
Right. Yeah. Or no, it's vice versa. I think the first one is during the fall. Is when the gopis now come into maturity.
That's called Sharad.
Sharad, yeah. Sharad Bihari is Philadelphia Radha Krishna.
Yeah.
And then Vasant Ras is spring.
Vasant Ras, Vasant Leela, yes. That's the springtime.
Okay.
And that's in Govardhan.
That's in Govardhan.
Yes.
And the first one, Seva Kunj.
Right.
Okay. I remember when I was on Ayendra Prabhu's 24-hour kirtan party for a couple of weeks in Vrindavan, my schedule was between 10 at night and 4 in the morning, which was, I don't want to say the graveyard shift. That's not a very nice expression. But anyway, that was sort of part of the initiation process. You want to be on the 24-hour kirtan, then you got to take the 10 o'clock at night to 4 in the morning.
Inadvertently, they give you the most intimate time.
Yes, I remember when I was leading those kirtans, of course, I learned that you don't eat a banana at night because that's when the mosquitoes go to chew up your hands when you're playing the harmonium. And you put some neem oil on. But I remember feeling like it was really special. I'm thinking, wow, I'm here in Vrindavan Dham, and as far as I know, the Rasa Leela is going on like a few blocks away at Seva Kunj. It was blowing my mind, that I don't know. I'm just a conditioned soul. What do I know, But it was special.
Yes, definitely. And you got so much Sukriti doing that, Prabhu. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so where are we here? Yeah, I'm very grateful that I was able to do that. Does anyone know where we left off? Are we on Lord Caitanya exhibit?
That's correct.
Is that where we are?
Yeah.
Vijagaranga, did you read 2 paragraphs? Or
Yes, I did.
Lord Caitanya exhibited the mode of Srimati Radharani when she was contacted from Dwarka by Sri Krishna. Such transcendental love is not possible for any common man. Let me read that again. Lord Caitanya exhibited the mode of Srimati Radharani when she was contacted from Dwarka. But how did she do? Did Krishna send the messenger? Was that Daruka? Or?
Uddhava, yeah.
That's Uddhava. Okay.
And then she was in that, transcendental acute state of separation.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Such transcendental love is not possible for any common man. Therefore, one should not imitate the highest perfectional stage exhibited by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If, however, one desires to be in that association, he may follow in the footsteps of the gopis. In the Padma Purana, it is stated that just as Radharani is dear to Krishna, similarly, the Kund known as Radha Kund is also very dear to him. This is, I think, 11th verse of a Nectar of Instruction. It's the last verse. Radharani is the only gopi who is dearer to Krishna than all the other gopis. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10:30-28, it is also stated that Radharani and the gopis render the highest perfectional loving service to the Lord, and that the Lord is so pleased with them that he does not wish to leave the company of Srimati Radharani.
Isn't this also a reference to the Song of the Bee, that mood?
Brahmara Gita.
Yeah.
Sure.
Baba Trini composed a song about it.
In English.
Very nice.
From Bhagavatam, actually.
I remember.
Oh no, it's from
From
Krishna,
Krishna book, yeah. Which is
Yeah.
I've
We
got it.
we sang that for Radhastami at the temple on the Big Island.
Nice.
They sang it here too.
I want to hear it, but at the same time, it's just difficult to find where we are the next time. I know I need to write it down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a way to bookmark it?
Session with the song of the month. Yeah. Okay. Krishna Chandra Prabhu?
Okay. When Lord Chaitanya heard Ramananda Roy speak of the loving affairs between Krishna and Radharani, he said, "Please go further. Go on and on." The Lord also said that he was enjoying with great relish the descriptions of the loving affairs between Krishna and the gopis. "It is as if a river of nectar is flowing from your lips," he said. Ramananda Roy continued to point out that when Krishna danced among the gopis, he thought, "I am not giving any special attention to Radharani," because among the other gopis, Radharani was not so much an object of special love. Krishna stole her away from the area of the rasa dance and showed her special favor. After explaining this to Lord Chaitanya, Ramananda Roy said, "Now let us relish the transcendental loving affairs between Krishna and Radha. These have no comparison in this material world."
Nandapatni.
Ramananda Roy thus continued his descriptions. During one performance of the Rasa dance, Radharani suddenly left the area, as if she were angry that no special attention was being shown her. Krishna was desirous of seeing Radharani in order to fulfill the purpose of the Rasa dance, but not seeing Radharani there, he became very sorrowful and went to search her out. In the Gita Govinda, there's a verse which states that the enemy of Kamsa, Krishna, also wanted to be entangled in love affairs with women, and thus simply took Radharani away and left the company of the other damsels of Raj. Krishna was very much afflicted by Radharani's absence, and being thus mentally distressed, began to search her out along the banks of the Jamuna. Failing to find her, he entered the bushes of Vrindavan and began to lament. Ramananda Rai pointed out that when one discusses the purport of these two special verses of the Gita Govinda 312, he can relish the highest nectar of Krishna's and Radha's loving affairs. Although there were many gopis to dance with Krishna, Krishna especially wanted to dance with Radharani. In the Rasa dance, Krishna expanded himself and placed himself between every two gopis, but he was especially present with Radharani. However, Radharani was not pleased with Krishna's behavior, as described in the Ujjvala Nilamani, quote, The path of loving affairs is just like the movement of a snake. Amongst young lovers, there are two kinds of mentality, causeless and causal. Thus, when Radharani left the area of the rasa dance out of anger at not receiving special treatment, Krishna became very sorrowful to see her absent. The perfection of the rasa dance was considered to
Didn't
be
you leave a part of the sentence out? And in her absence.
Very sorrowful to see her absent. No, it's good. The perfection of the rasa dance was considered to be complete due to Radharani's presence. And in her absence, Krishna considered the dance to be disrupted. Therefore, he left the arena to search her out. When he couldn't find Radharani after wandering in several places, he became very distressed. Thus, it's understood that Krishna couldn't enjoy his pleasure potency even in the midst of all the gopis. But in the presence of Radharani, he was satisfied.
I have a question for Nirhari and Bhavacharini. So when Krishna left the rasa dance, did he leave all his expansions to continue dancing with all the gopis, or did the gopis kind of freak out? Where did Krishna go?
No, they all
Does anyone
no, they all also go leave to search for them. And that's when you hear and he said, oh, look at this. And the group of Chandravali, they said, oh, she must have, look at this gopi, she must have done something. Her sukriti or her pious activities are, superior to ours. The Lord is with her. And then at one point, you don't see the footprints of Radhe. She's telling the Lord she's tired. So he picks her up and they go together even further into the forest.
Right.
And then at one point, then Krishna leaves her. But the other gopis are close to her, the ones that are I forget the name. There are 4 different varieties of gopis, and Swapaksha and Vipaksha. So Vipaksha, they worship Radha Krishna with a tendency like Lalita and Vishaka. They're friends of Radharani. So these are her personal kaya vyuhas. They're expansions of Radha, the same as the manjaris are. Principal manjaris are expansions of Sri Radha in order to serve Krishna better. So sometimes, we need to be careful in that when she expresses man, it's not like an ordinary girl, because she's angry because she knows nobody can satisfy Krishna as she does. And she knows that he won't be happy. So it's an interplay. And actually, Swarup Damodar explains it very well in Chaitanya Charitamrita. He explains all this to Lord Chaitanya and the Ratha Yatra festival. There's a part at the beginning, I believe, that he explains the affairs of lovers are like that. They're like the movements of a snake. And sometimes there is anger for no reason, or there is anger for some reason.
So the whole rasa dance comes to an end, and all the gopis go searching for Radha and Krishna as soon as Krishna leaves. Krishna doesn't leave his expansions to keep dancing with them while
No.
Okay.
It all happens because of Radha. It all happens because of her.
It's her fault.
The gopis, the beauty of the gopis, there's no comparison in the 3 worlds. Not even demigoddesses they're all coming to observe rasa dance, and they all they're ready. It says that their hair loosens, and they're ready to leave their husbands. Their belts loosen, and like that, as soon as they hear or see Krishna, everybody wants to. How high it is! But before the rasa dance begins, is the defeat of Cupid. Cupid comes and challenges Krishna, but as soon as Cupid sees Krishna, he faints. So it is explained in the commentary by Sridhar Maharaj, the one that Lord Chaitanya the one that Prabhupada used for translating the Srimad Bhagavatam. He comments on Rasa Lila, and first of all he explains, this is not mundane. This is something that even the highest demigods and the highest sages, they're all transcendental personalities they come to worship. So how special is it? It's just not regular dance of boys and girls, so yeah, this is this part becomes very, very interesting. But you can see the gradations, the gopis, and then Lord Chaitanya said, "No, go on,"
Right.
because he wants to get to that point where Radharani is exalted.
So
And the moods of Lord
sorry.
Yeah.
Go on.
So the moods of Lord Chaitanya are the moods of Radharani's separation. It's Radha Krishna combined. But why is he golden? Well, he's got golden complexion and the mood of Radhe.
We only have 3 paragraphs to finish. It's 10 after 9 here for Jivan Mukta.
Yeah.
So who was the last to read?
I don't know.
Was I the last one to? No, I think. No, I'm not sure.
And the Patni, were you the last to read?
Yeah, now I think
Yeah,
about it.
Shiva.
Jivan
Yeah.
Mukta's then.
I don't know anything. That's where it goes, I think.
If you were the last to read, you read this last sentence, but in the presence of Radharani, he was satisfied, correct?
Oh, I guess. Okay.
Jivan Mukta, are you there, Prabhu?
You there? I think he had to go off somewhere. He left a chat. Is he there
He's-
still?
Yeah,
He's
he usually
muted
likes to
with
finish at 9.
camera.
Okay, if he's not there, let's keep going. So, Nirhari, Prabhu.
Okay. See, my glasses fell out. You see.
Or Baba Tarini, doesn't
Okay.
matter.
Do you want to read?
Sure. Where are we? When
There's transcendental.
when this transcendental love between Radharani and Krishna was described by Ramananda Roy, Lord Chaitanya admitted, "I came to you to understand the transcendental loving affairs between Krishna and Radha. And now I am very satisfied that you have described them so nicely. I can understand from your version that this is the highest loving state between Krishna and Radha." Yet Lord Chaitanya still requested Ramananda Roy to explain something more. What are the transcendental features of Krishna and Radharani? And what are the transcendental features of the reciprocation of their feelings? And what is the love between them? If you kindly describe all this to me, I will be very much obliged. But for you, no one can describe such things.
Well, Lord Chaitanya is really showing how to be the supreme inquirer and how to go just deeper and deeper. Prabhupada once said that asking questions is a sign of intelligence.
Yes.
Hari Prabhu?
Where did you leave? Features.
I do
I
not
am.
know.
Okay.
I
I do not know anything. Ramananda Rai replied in all humility, "I am simply saying what you are causing me to say. I know that you are Krishna himself, yet you are relishing hearing about Krishna from me. Therefore, please excuse me for my faulty expression. I am just trying to express whatever you are causing me to express." Continue.
Yeah, sure.
"I am a Mayavadi sannyas," Lord Chaitanya protested. "I have no knowledge of the transcendental features of devotional service. By the greatness of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, my mind has become clear, and I am now trying to understand the nature of devotional service to Lord Krishna. Bhattacharya recommended that I see you in order to understand Krishna. Indeed, he said that Ramananda Rai is the only person who knows something about love of Krishna. Therefore, I have come to you upon the recommendation of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Please, then, do not hesitate to relate to me all the confidential affairs between Radha and Krishna.
You know, we talk about strategic preaching, but I'm thinking Lord Chaitanya is the supreme strategist, because by taking this role of a Mayavadi sannyasi, he's saying, I have no knowledge of the transcendental features of devotional service. So indirectly, he's preaching to all the Mayavadis how they should be thinking about themselves. Right?
That's a nice angle too. That's a nice angle. But see how he's exalting, he's always put the devotee first.
Yes.
And who is the highest devotee? Radhe. And what we call it also Sri, so we call Sri Krishna, Sri Narayan. Always the consort. Prabhupada explains this. Srila Prabhupada explains this. It's that we always call the name of his energy first.
Well, when I was a little boy, my mom used to say, son, always remember, ladies first. You're supposed to open the doors for the ladies. You're supposed to give up your seat on the bus for the ladies. You should always give ladies some special consideration. I mean, I realize that's a perverted reflection, but the idea was
right. But the idea is there.
Your turn.
I was just going to say, it's Lord Chaitanya is getting to the core of his internal reasons for appearing as well.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Good observation.
There's only 2 more chapters in Teachings of Lord Chaitanya after this. We're on the third last chapter. So you can see the milk is turning into burfi now. It's just getting thicker.
Yes, you're right.
In this way, Lord Chaitanya actually took the subordinate position before Ramananda Roy. This has very great significance. If one is serious about understanding the transcendental nature of Krishna, he should approach a person who is actually enriched with Krishna consciousness. One should not be proud of his material birth, material opulence, material education and beauty, and with these things try to conquer the mind of an advanced student of Krishna consciousness. One who thus goes to a Krishna conscious person, thinking that he would be favorably induced, is deluded about this science. One should approach a Krishna conscious person with all humility and put relevant questions to him. If one goes to challenge him, such a highly elevated Krishna conscious person would not be available for any service. A challenging, puffed up person cannot gain anything from a Krishna conscious man. He would simply remain in material consciousness. Although Lord Chaitanya was born in a high Brahmin family and was situated in the highest perfectional stage of sannyas, he nonetheless showed by his behavior that even an elevated person would not hesitate to take lessons from Ramananda Roy, although Ramananda appeared as a householder situated in a social status beneath that of a Brahmin. Thus, Lord Chaitanya,
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. You do it. Thus, Lord Chaitanya clearly showed that a sincere student never cares whether his spiritual master is born in a high Brahmin family or Kshatriya family, or whether he is a sannyasi, brahmachari, or whatever. Whoever can teach one about the science of Krishna is to be accepted as guru.
That reminds me of a statement sometimes you hear from Indian people who say, oh, you're doing very nicely, and your next birth you'll be born in an Indian family. So you can make some real advancement, but that's not the teachings of Lord Chaitanya.
No.
Absolutely. No one.
Prabhupada used to have sometimes heated arguments with Indians about this point. Yeah.
He would protect his disciples.
Yeah.
Speaking up on their behalf.
And look at the behavior of Haridas Thakur or Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami. They wouldn't even go near the temple because they were afraid that the pujaris would touch them and contaminate the pujaris.
They didn't want to contaminate the pujaris.
Yeah,
wow.
They didn't want to contaminate the pujaris. Just imagine, but Lord Chaitanya, nevertheless, yesterday we were celebrating Haridas Thakur's disappearance day, and it's very heart-wrenching. And he begs the Lord not to having to observe his pastimes of disappearance pastimes. He begs him, and then Lord Chaitanya reluctantly says, "Okay, So he comes back the next day with all his entourage of devotees, the most elevated devotees, to see Haridas Thakur. And he would always, make sure that he would have prasadam from the temple. And what does he do? He gives him the chance to put. Haridas Thakur said, I want to leave with my head on your lap, chanting Jai Sachinandan, Jai Gaur Hari. Gaur Hari, Gaur Hari. And that's how he leaves. And then what does Lord Chaitanya do? He picks him up and he's dancing with Haridas Thakur's body. Another thing that Advaitacharya did, it was in the Shraddha ceremony, very special ceremony, he invited all the Brahmins and invited Haridas Thakur. And Haridas Thakur, he stayed outside because he thought, well, I'm a Muslim, I can't. If I enter, I will contaminate the assembly, your house. And look, Advaitacharya grabs him by the hands, brings him in, and he puts him on a seat of honor, and he gives him the first offering. All the Brahmins got up and they were leaving. They were saying, "Oh, this is outrageous. We're like, this is not respectful of the true order of society. That's how it should be." And so Advaitacharya, "Oh yeah, you're gonna be like this? Get out of my house." He kicks them all out, and then
Advaitacharya threatened the other devotees that were there.
The other Brahmins, yes.
Well, because they were taking some offense that you're offering to this Muslim.
Yes. Yeah.
All these passages are very significant. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So they leave, and then after they left, they start saying, oh my God, what did we do? This is Advaitacharya. He's actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How can we act in this way? So they all came back and begged forgiveness.
Very nice.
So, yeah.
Reminds me of the Brahmins and the Brahmins' wives in Krishna's pastime.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry, what was the point about the Brahmins' wives? What's the connection you're making?
Well, they got it. They got it after they blew it. They got it.
Right.
They repented.
Yeah.
But they were influenced. I mean, it's so significant that you Prabhus are making this point, how Haridas Thakur is there, Rupa and Sanatan considered completely fallen. And it's so interesting that Lord Chaitanya have these personalities in this role in a such a strong caste conscious society, which is how the ego is finally enmeshed in this whole culture, the false pride. I remember, it brings to mind also Bhakti Siddhanta and his Brahman and Vaishnava and how he conquered them. First he was praising the Brahmins like anything, they're all getting so happy, and then land them.
That's how we learned in the Mayapur Institute of Higher Education. After I did Bhakti Shastri there in 2007, I attended Atul Krishna Prabhu's classes on getting the 3 levels of teachers training so that I could actually certify people to take Bhakti Shastri. And I got slammed one day by Atul Krishna Prabhu because what he taught, and I'm sure most of you, if not everyone, knows the procedure in being a good teacher. At least this is how he taught it. Is that called pedagogy? Pedagogy,
yeah.
But there's a word for the science. No, there's
pedagogy. I think it is
the science of education, the methodology of education. I'm forgetting the word right now. Maybe that's it. Anyway, the idea was, first of all, you pray. If a person's making a presentation, you praise them on what you appreciate about that presentation. Then you give the criticism that needs to be corrected. Then at the end, you say more things that you appreciate. So one day, when Mataji, she came up to the front of the class and she was speaking very softly like this. And I'm thinking, isn't she thinking about people at the back of the room? Like, she should learn how to project your voice. Guy took some drama classes, so you learn that. And so then at the end, Atul Krishna said, okay, so does anyone have a critique, would like to say something? And I said, Yeah, was she thinking? I have this sarcastic side, which came to bite me back. I said, was she just speaking to the people in the front row, or was she thinking about people in the back? And until Krishna said, wrong, you're supposed to start with something positive. Then you give the criticism. So I got the verbal slap of reality at that point. It just brought back that memory.
But it's always we met. I was just thinking of all this, of what we read on such elevated topic. We must always,
Oh, they disappeared.
I have
Anyway,
to leave. Yeah.
yeah, I was going to say that it's not proper for, as far as I understand, it's not proper for a junior to offer blessings to a senior. But since it's Nrihari Prabhu's birthday today, it is my desire that he may join, because what I understood from him, he said, first you go to Caitanya Lila, Boma Lila, where Lord Chaitanya is. It's the first time I heard this, but I'm not doubting. And then after that, you go to Krishna's Boma Lila, if I understand correctly. Is that correct, Nrihari Prabhu? First, after this life, we go, if we're fortunate, if we have enough purification, we go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Boma Lila, and then after getting a little more trained up by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then we go to Krishna's Boma Lila, and then we go back to Golok. Is that the proper understanding?
What's that?
sorry, I
We
lost
got
the connection.
disconnected. We don't know what was said.
Okay, my question is, I was saying, as a junior, it's not my position to offer you any blessings. I can pray for you on this day of your birthday, but my question is, it's my desire for you to go to Chaitanya Lila, Boma Lila, after this life is over. And then my question is, then do you go to Krishna Lila after that, Boma Lila, before you go back to Golok? Is that how it works?
No,
What?
he said you go to Gora Lila, then Krishna Lila. No, you go to Boma Vrindavan. Maybe you go to Chaitanya Lila, but it depends on your proclivities. Some devotees go to both, and they're eternally serving in Gora Lila and Krishna Lila.
Okay.
But one thing I know, and reading Prabhupada and the Acharyas, that the only way really to get to Goloka, to Radha Krishna, serve Radha Krishna, and understand the passages is through Lord Chaitanya.
Right.
And so why wouldn't his pastimes are unlimited, and the more we hear, the more, it's just so nectarian.
The more our desire increases to want to join him.
Yeah, and that we know,
But
what he relishes is about Radha Krishna, but we cannot imitate, but we can follow the footsteps of all these devotees, Sarup Damodar, Roy Ramananda. And who are they? They're gopis.
one time,
It's Rupa, actually. Lord Chaitanya comes to give us Manjari Bhav, actually, more than the Gopi Bhav.
So,
that's what is more desired, and that's what, for a jiva to attain, it'll be the highest thing is to follow on Sri Rupam Manjari Pada. And Prabhupada sings about that. Why? It's such an important song he left us with.
one time at Krishna Bhamini's house in Ojai, Narayan Maharaj was visiting, and everyone was sitting around talking about how they would like to go live and spend some time with Narottam Das Thakur and learn and go to Bhaktivinoda Thakur and just be in direct association with him and go to Narottam, like they were talking about when they left their body. They were thinking, and learn all the songs directly from Narottam Das Thakur. And I said, well, what about Manjari Bhav? And Krishna Bhamini, whose daughter is named Manjari, and Manjari's daughter, Radhika, were sitting there, and Narayan Maharaj goes, Oh, well, I don't know anything about Manjari Bhav. He goes, maybe you can ask Krishna Bhamini and Radhika.
They know all about it. So in answer to you say, do you have your junior? No, Prabhu. You can give all your blessings because I do need them. And, I can't, the more I study, the more I hear from the great acharyas. They don't even want to go to Boma Vrindavan or anything like that. They just want to take birth in even if it's as an insect.
Yeah.
And they have it, even Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Because you're always going to hear Harikatha. It's always going to be Prashadam.
I really love
Well, I
hearing
just
this because it's reminding me about the importance of cultivating humility, and a little realization I got tonight and also I was listening to what's his name, Chararatma, I think his name is. I was listening to him speaking on Haridas Thakur's disappearance last night, and what I was being reminded about is, sometimes devotees feel ostracized / disenfranchised, not so much welcome at their temple, or they feel neglected or not included in giving classes, etc., etc. And I'm thinking, if you've got the mindset of Haridas Thakur or Rup and Sanatan Goswami, they don't even think about that because they feel themselves so unqualified. Like, why should I consider that I should be giving class?
Yes.
Right?
I mean, yeah. Look at them. Look at this personality. He goes to, he goes in front of the king, Haridas Thakur, the Muslim king, and the Muslim says, "You're a Muslim. You should be an example. Stop chanting the name of some other god. Why don't you chant Allah?" He said, "I'm sorry, but I'm sorry." He apologized sincerely. He said, "But I can't stop my tongue. I can't stop from chanting." Right. So the king said, "Well, to death, whip him in 22 marketplaces." Yeah. And then they're beating him, and he's not even his body because he can't kill the pure devotee. Right. And there's no flesh anymore. There's no muscle anymore. Their bones have been broken now. And so the guards are, then he tells the guards, "I'm sorry." Look at his humility. I say, "I'm sorry. I think you're probably very tired because you've been beating me for a while now."
Because normally you're supposed to die after 3 marketplaces, not 22.
No, even one. He said it was so severe that one marketplace would be enough to get you, to leave your body. Yeah. So then they said, "Well, if you don't die, our families will be put to death.
Punished. Yeah.
Ourselves and our family." So he said, "Okay." So enter Samadhi, and it looked like he was dead. Right. So then, everybody thought, "Oh, he's dead, he's dead." They threw his body in the Ganga, and then the rest we know. He comes out with a new, beautiful body, and he was beautiful too before.
Well, isn't it when Lord Caitanya embraces him, does he accept all the welts on his body, or did the Ganga itself did that transfer?
No,
that was you're thinking of Sanatan Goswami.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. And it was after several times the teaching. That passage it's actually extraordinary. It's amazing that Lord Chaitanya goes and visits them both, and Haridas Thakur says, "Oh, this is Leela. This is your Leela. This is your Leela." He said, "I know you created those, him to be thirsty and to drink that bad water." And all these sores came out, and like that. It says that in the last embrace, because this happened several days. The first is like Lord Chaitanya says, "What do you think, Haridas? Is somebody if you're now you that person is owned, so do they have the right to do something?"
That person is what? Owned,
or well, how did he put it? You have no right to do if that objects you gave something away. If you give,
he said he was going to try to kill himself.
Sanatan Goswami wanted to kill himself.
And he said
because every time he showed up, Chaitanya rushed towards him, and he was avoiding it, and he just will grab him and embrace him.
And all the swords
And all the swords will ooze, and all the liquid will go into.
Lord Chaitanya
Lord
said,
Chaitanya's
you
body.
already surrendered to me. So your
Yeah.
body, you've given me your body, you are mine, you belong to me, you have no right to
So he
kill.
asked Haridas Thakur,
Yeah.
how can you, now you're already given your body, so how can you decide to do? That's like, you're taking away the
Can't take
gift.
it back. It's called being an Indian.
You take him back. Yes. So yeah, there's a lot to learn, and he illustrated that Trinara Pisunichana.
Yeah. That's why it's so valuable to hear these shastras, because it takes us out of our little world. Oh, woe is me. That temple president doesn't care about me, or they don't include me. But then when you read about these most exalted personalities, they don't even consider whether they don't consider themselves even qualified to be considered.
Yeah. Yes. So for me, two things, one is that absolutely, it's amazing that they're so exemplary in many ways, but they illustrate that very important verse, Trinara Pisunichana.
Yes.
And the other is the compassion Prabhupada had.
Oh.
The mercy he gave us, for him to even go against the grain, let's say, that we're not even Hindus. We're not even born there.
We should
But
probably
he's
make
saying,
him go to bed though.
oh, yes.
Yeah, I want to
yes.
finish a couple rounds because it's already 25 to 10 now.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Anyway,
thank you for
I'm
your
happy. I'm happy
association.
we could spend this time on your birthday.
Thank you
But
for
thank you for your association
sharing
and your
his
blessings,
birthday
Prabhu, your
with us.
association.
I would
is
have
a
cooked your
blessing.
favorite
All of you.
preparation for you. I don't know what it is. My mind. What's his favorite
What's your
preparation,
favorite?
Baba Tarini? What's Hari Prabhu's favorite
I
preparation?
don't know. His favorite
What?
thing to make is samosas, but I
Okay.
don't know what his favorite thing to eat is. He likes so many different things. He's very broad-minded. But I just remembered something, some devotees I don't even remember who it was, but it was older devotees from ISKCON. And they said that it might have been Gargamuni, but one of the reasons Prabhupada named the deities like Londonishwarya and Parasishwari and Parthasarati was his sense of humor.
Gargamuni said that.
I don't remember who said it.
Okay.
I'm just saying it was it could have been Guru Das, but it was an older Prabhupada disciple. Actually, it was a group of older Prabhupada disciples that all said it was Prabhupada's sense of humor.
Okay.
And at the same time, in going back to that relationship between God brothers, that's an extraordinary relationship between Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj and Prabhupada. But the Prabhupada wrote to Tirtha, his God brother senior, to ask him for sannyas and help, and he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't even respond. And then, but the very first one he asked was Bhakti's Rakshak. Yeah, but he had been living with Prabhupada and Bhakti
12 years.
He was
12 years.
12 years. So he was Babu. He was the uncle. He was like, the part of the family. So he said, I can't do this to your family. You're crazy. I can't do this. Don't ask me. He probably kept knocking I think that's at 1:30 at night to whenever he had the dream, a recurrent dream of Bhaktisiddhanta.
Oh, yeah.
So,
the Prabhupada said on the tape, he said that he was, can't remember the exact words, but he was like shuddering or like aghast. Oh, Guru Maharaj is asking me.
Yeah, it was very, very strongly put, to him to take sannyas, but Prabhupada didn't think he wanted to, also it's anyhow, there is so much to talk about. I don't want to, but it's just so wonderful, like the Prabhupada, how it exemplifies from one thing is like he never ever I was talking to a dear God brother, but he's a little senior actually, and he said, I always liked that Prabhupada came from from the ranks or from the law. I said, no, you don't
He
understand.
came from the
exalted.
ranks.
Yeah,
The
or
ranks,
something,
like the lower
he was just the
class.
lower
Oh,
class, just
okay.
a grihasta,
The rank and file.
like that, and
Rank
he
and
became
file.
what he became. But some of the Prabhupada's god-brothers, not Bhakti Pragyan Kesava, but others who were all together with Bhaktisiddhanta, they were complaining. They said, well, him, what does he do?
Kacha, Prabhupada said they called me Kacha Grihasta, rotten Grihasta, Kacha.
Yeah, they were like,
Gotcha.
that he never was at the ashram, so then he didn't know as much or something. It can contribute. But Bhaktisiddhanta strongly told him, no, one day he'll do everything.
He'll do everything, yes. And he did.
He did.
And he's still doing it.
He did
And he's
everything.
still doing it in spite of me.
And so we're like very, very lucky. So no, I consider, you're totally capable of
I have to go
blessing me.
do something
in this
about the
day.
cake.
She just
Please
sat on the
accept my respectful basis.
I have to go.
Yeah, I said our respectful basis moves to all.
Just on a closing note, I talked to Shruta Kirti Prabhu today, and he said to me, it's very good that we're doing these Zooms. He says he's also doing some Zooms every week, and he was encouraging us that it's great that we're doing this.
Oh,
So-
thanks.
Because I'm in Facebook jail right now, because I had stated what the ingredients are in the vaccinations, then Zuckerman, he put me in Facebook jail for a month. So I cannot advertise on Facebook like I used to. So if all of you just want to keep it 4 or 5 people, then it's really in your hands whether you want to tell others. I mean, I can send individual messages to devotees still.
Yeah, you
can't
can
put it on.
still send
Yeah.
like on WhatsApp and like that. Can you?
What happened to the devotee from Pakistan?
Oh, she actually, because they were putting pressure on her to take the jab, she went and started to work for another company. But she said compared to the company that she was working for, that company is like way more less developed than the company she's in. So she's got like lots of responsibility to train a lot of people, and there's pressure on her to get results. And she said she misses everybody. Sikarani also says she misses everybody. She sprained her ankle or hurt her ankle, and she says, I miss you guys. So both of them are missing us, but
we're missing her. Them, yes.
Which
I was
one's
wondering about Sikarani from New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Yes.
Okay, and the one from Pakistan, what was
She's
her
very
name?
busy.
Actually, Sikarani is in Rochester. She's just directly.
Oh, Rochester. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. She went on a little tour to New Mexico and sprained her ankle.
Okay.
somewhere.
Oh.
So
We'll
she's
send our regards to them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
okay.
the devotee from Malaysia. She's
she can only come 1 day a week because she works. Shuddha Sindhu. But
Shuddha
Vijay
Sindhu.
Garanga, he has access to hundreds of amazing devotees of Vancouver. We're waiting for him to invite his pals.
I've
right.
invited several. I've invited many. A couple have dropped in, and then they're just tied
Thank
up in their
you.
own stuff. here.
Stan Gill, Prashasha Prabhu.
Yeah,
Prashasha
you have to drop names. Like, did you know that we have Hari and Bhavatarini? You know,
Yes, no, I'm doing that.
Maybe more will come.
You can drop. You can
No,
drop
I'm
her
doing.
name.
I'm
Mine.
doing that.
Okay, very good. I should not assume that you are not.
That's okay.
I really do have to go.
Hey, so do we. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Ki, Srila Prabhupada Sannyas Mahotsava ki jai.
All glories to the symbol of the